Hey everyone, James Lynch here, and this is the Fanatics View Hockey Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, post them in the chat. I'll get to every single one of them I can on today's program. Appreciate you tuning in. We got a lot to get into today. NHL playoffs are right around the corner, and we got a lot of action going on right now in the league. A lot of things happening in the standings. So we're going to get into all that. But as always, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You got to subscribe to get your questions read here on the channel. More than happy to do that here for the next hour or so. Let's actually start first. We're going to go a little bit different here today. I want to look at the standings first because things are really heating up in both the Eastern and Western Conference. They will focus more in the Western Conference. Maybe next week we'll do the Eastern Conference, but today I wanted to show you guys what is going on right now as things are certainly heating up. So just a quick glance at the Eastern Conference right now. You got the Washington Capitals still reigning supreme. I feel like every week we talk about the East. They're still on top by a good margin right now too. 98 points compared to 86 for Carolina, which is the next team. But this is where things get interesting. Look at 8, 9, 10. You've got Montreal, you got New York, and you got the Islanders all within striking distance of each other. Even Ottawa, who lost to Montreal last night, just a couple points up on Montreal in that 8th playoff, or on the 7th playoff spot right there. So things heating up in the East for sure. And then over in the West, I think it's even more interesting. So similar situation here. You got the Jets 10 points above, close to 10 points above the Dallas Stars. You got the Stars, Knights, Avalanche. And then here's where things get interesting in the 8th spot here. It's a tie for 8th right now between Vancouver and St. Louis. Vancouver having a game in hand. Calgary having 2 games in hand on St. Louis and a game in hand on the Canucks. So if the Calgary Flames win their next game, they will be tied with Vancouver. And then even Utah, not that far behind, just 71 points here. They have 68 games played. So they have the same amount of games played as the Canucks. Of course, Utah beating Vancouver earlier this week, so or on Sunday, I should say. So, that certainly is making things interesting. And guess who's playing each other later in the week? Vancouver and St. Louis. So the timing of this couldn't be better. But yeah, this is where we sit in the West right now. It's going to be very interesting to see how things kind of line up here, because if you look at St. Louis's schedule, their schedule is a little bit easier than the Canucks. The Canucks have a number of tough opponents coming up, including the Winnipeg Jets, who they played last night. We'll talk about those scores in a sec. Bolts look scary. They played the Panthers and Leafs one more time. Both are at home, second to back-to-back for other teams, but not us. We can win the division for sure. I would agree with that. I would say that Tampa Bay is certainly peaking and doing well at the right time. 6-3-1 in their last 10 games. So that's good to see. A lot of the teams at the top though are playing well, except for New Jersey. Look there, they're 5-5 in their last 10, whereas like Capitals, Hurricanes, they're all playing up to par. So yeah, let's get into last night's action, and then keep your questions coming, everyone. Again, we'll get into all the stuff. So the Capitals beating the Red Wings, no real surprise there. The Capitals have been on a roll. The Red Wings, they're on the outside looking in right now. We mentioned the standings there. They are currently in 12th, although they have 70 points, so they get 2 more points. They'll be right with the Rangers. So again, the East is even tighter than the West right now in terms of the points percentage. Even like Boston's at 69 points. So really, it's these 13-8 could be anything interesting could happen in terms of some of the way this is going. But Detroit's coaches bump that they had earlier this year with Todd McClellan seemed to have worn off. You look at Detroit there, 2-8 in their last 10. Also Columbus, we've had Troy on here before. They're not doing so great. 4-6 in their last 10 as well. So seeing some teams break the pack a little bit. So yeah, big win there for the Capitals. Mrazek, newly acquired Peter Mrazek for the Red Wings, making 22 saves on 26 shots. That's not going to get it done. And on the other end, Logan Thompson continuing to have a great season for Washington there too. Okay, let's get to some of the other games. The Penguins beating the Islanders. It's good for the Islanders. Again, they're still somewhat in the mix. This is the big one. The Montreal Canadiens. I saw them firsthand last week when they played the Canucks. I was at that game. They took it to the Senators, and the Senators have been playing well, but the Habs to get this one done, very impressive. Linus Ullmark up to the task, though, only letting in, well, I guess technically not doing so great, 27 saves on 31 shots. Then on the other end, Sam Montembeault not too busy that night. Ottawa's got to get more shots here if they're going to look to get past a team like this. And Christian Dvorak with a goal and 3 assists. You'd like to see that from a guy who's not usually likely for them to score. So again, Montreal making things interesting in the East. Some other games that we had last night, we had the Flames beating the Rangers. Okay, this was a big talking point. Every now and then I like going on New York Rangers Twitter. It's always interesting to see that what other kind of markets are seeing right now. And man, the Rangers fans are pissed, and they have a right to be pissed. Look at this. Flames were on a back-to-back. Flames had lost. They had got absolutely destroyed by the Leafs the night before. What was that game anyways? I'm just trying to remember. It was like 6-3 or something, or What was the game they lost? Yeah, 6-2. They lost the game before. So they're already on a back-to-back. They play the Rangers, who I believe were not coming off a back-to-back. And the Rangers, 12 shots. That's their 13 shots total. 12 saves there for Dan Vladar. I mean, that's not a good sign for a team that's looking to fight for their playoff lives. So, I mean, Rangers fans rightfully pissed off here. You look at, the lone goal scorer was Panarin. JT Miller, just one shot on net. That's not good. And the Flames, again, getting it done on the road. So they are still in the hunt for that 8th spot. We'll see how things shake out in the West right now. But the Flames getting a much needed win on the road against the New York Rangers. You got the Stars beating the Ducks in overtime, maybe a little bit closer than we'd like, but that was sort of a predictable win there. The Blues beating the Predators. I mentioned the St. Louis Blues. They've got a pretty easy schedule from here on out. So we'll go look at that right now. But I saw a lot of people being like, man, St. Louis is on a roll. Yeah, they're playing Nashville. Of course they're going to win that game. Nashville's been a disaster this entire year. So they got the Canucks, which will be a interesting one. But then they got the Blackhawks, the Predators again. The Canadiens have been on a roll, so that'll be a bit tougher. They got the Predators again. They've got the Predators 3 times at this point of the year. I'm sure when they made this schedule, they thought, oh, this might be a tough game, but the Predators have been not so good this year. Then they get the Avalanche. That'll be a tough test. Then they get the Red Wings, easier. Penguins, Avalanche again, then the Jets, then the Oilers, and the Kraken. So there's a couple games here. Like, again, you're playing Nashville 3 times. You're playing Chicago. Those are probably going to be wins there for the St. Louis Blues. So that's where, for the Canucks, you contrast the schedule here a little bit, and we'll get to the Canucks in a second. They've got, obviously, the Rangers. That should be winnable. The Devils are always a tough team. They're in a playoff position in the East. The Islanders may be a bit easier. The Jackets. But then they get the Jets again. And then the Knights, the Stars, the Avalanche, the Wild, and the Golden Knights to finish off the season. Like, that's going to be tougher. So I think as far as looking at the schedule, St. Louis has got it a little bit easier than the Canucks, so that may be to their advantage. And Utah's another team to keep in mind, too, for the West. So we'll have to see how that goes. But anyways, the big news, and obviously, Kraken beating the Blackhawks, no big deal there. The Oilers thumping Utah 7-1, which is surprising because Utah has been playing quite well the last little bit. So for them to get, thumped that badly, not good, although it looks like they I can't remember I'm trying to remember who started last night. I didn't actually see this game, but I just saw that the box score there, 3 goals in the first period for Edmonton. That you can't let that happen. So Utah losing a key game last night to the Oilers, although the Oilers are one of the top teams in the West. But here's the big one from last night. The Canucks beating the Jets. If you had told me this game was going to be 6-2, I would have said that it would have been Winnipeg winning 6-2 over the Canucks. Credit to the Canucks. They had a really bad game on Sunday against Utah. Didn't get a lot of shots. In this one, a little bit better here. 21 shots overall in this one. Connor Hellebuyck. This was a weird game because there was a couple goals. Like there was the Besser goal. I think it was in the second period, which is kind of went through Hellebuck's legs. Hellebuyck didn't play well last night. A very rare instance where they get Connor Hellebuyck, who's not at his best. So there was a bit of that puck luck last night with the Canucks, but still the rushes looked good. The forecheck was good. They got 3 goals in the first period, which is I think the most they've had in probably months. I mean, this is a team that's struggling to get 2 goals a game. So the fact that they got 3 in the first period gave them a nice cushion. Then they get another 2 in the second and 1 in the third. Very encouraging for the Canucks. Maybe their best game of the season if you look at sort of everything that goes into it. No Connor Garland last night for the Canucks. They're still without Philip Cheadle, who unfortunately was left the game against Chicago. That really nasty hit from Jason Dickinson. So they've got a couple guys up playing, including Jonathan Lekramaki, Niels Amon in there, Linus Karlsson stepping in there for Connor Garland. So very encouraging to see that. And Kevin Lankinen making some key saves last night. Not super busy here, just 21 shots, but that's a big win for the Canucks. But they're going to need those. If they want to make the playoffs, they have to get wins like this over top teams, and they certainly were able to do that last night in this game. So again, very good effort here for the Canucks. And the big game, of course, and a lot of implications there, is going to be the game on Thursday when they're playing the St. Louis Blues. So just to get to my predictions here for the West, because let's get those out of the way, and then we'll kind of go through some of the other action, and let's see what we have. So I think for the 8th spot in the West, so I don't know. Minnesota's interesting. They're slipping a bit. They've got some injuries. I could see a world where Minnesota does slip out of their spot, although they've got 81 points. So they'd really have to collapse badly here for them to be out of playoff contention. So I think it's really for that battle for the 8th spot. And I hate to say it, but I think it's going to end up being St. Louis. I think they're going to end up making that 8th spot. I think Vancouver, Calgary, Utah are going to be at the outside looking in. If I had to go in an order of who I think could make 8th, I think I would go St. Louis, Utah, Vancouver. I think Calgary, they had the Backlund injury. They've been getting a lot of help as well from goaltending too with Dustin Wolf. I don't know if that's going to be enough to push them in the playoffs. If I was a betting man right now, I think St. Louis gets the 8th spot. Maybe Minnesota slips out, but I have a hard time seeing that happening. So you guys let me know in the chat who you think will make the 7th and 8th spot. I guess technically the 6th spot too, because although the Kings have only played 66 games, but they're at 81 points as well. So it's pretty much from here to here that things could get interesting. But yeah, I just have a feeling that the way St. Louis and Utah have been playing, I think they're the favorites to get in as opposed to Vancouver. But you never know. If Vancouver plays like they did last night, things could certainly get interesting in the Western Conference. Let's get to some of your questions here. Hoping the Leafs lose to the Avs tonight would be big for Tampa Bay. Yeah, we'll see if the Leafs can build off that big win over Calgary. How are the Avs playing, actually? Yeah, they're 8-1-1, so that's going to be a tall task. And obviously they did well at the deadline in getting Brock Nelson. So we'll have to see what they're able to do here. And that's in Toronto, right? Or is that in? Yeah, it's in Toronto. So we'll see. Big implications there for the Leafs. The Leafs get that because the Leafs they've been okay. They're 5-4, so they really need to. I mean, this would be big for the Leafs if they can get it done. So what are the odds on that? Actually, that might be worth a good betting spot. If you're getting the Avs at under, if you're getting the Avs a little bit under that price point, let's have a quick look here. You're getting them down at, you're getting Avs at -135. I think that's actually worth a stab. I know the Leafs are plus money, but the Avs are really good, guys, and the Leafs have not been playing so great the last little bit there. So yeah, something to consider for sure. Rangers fans are the worst. I don't mind. I mean, I don't think they're unreasonable. I think they're, some of the stuff I was reading last night. I mean, I think they deserve to be criticized. The Rangers do for getting 13 shots last night, and you're fighting for your playoff lives. Like, that's not going to cut it. So these are things you have to kind of keep in mind when you're, looking at, this time of year. Again, the Rangers made a pretty big trade to get JT Miller. From what I'm reading on Rangers Twitter, a lot of Rangers fans are like, it hasn't really made that much of a difference. Because look, they're again 4-4-2 in their last 10. That's not going to get it done. And Carson Soucy has not worked out either. Did he even play last night? That's another thing. Remember the Canucks traded him as well, and some people are like, oh, they could have got more for Soucy, but it's like, I think he's been a healthy scratch for most of the games. Was he a healthy scratch last night? Yeah, looks like it. No Carson Soucy on here, which sucks. He was very good for the Canucks last year, and I don't know what's gone on this year, if it's injuries or something mental, but that does not look good as well. Did Helly sell his Vezina? I mean, he'll probably still get the Vezina anyways. Someone brought this up on Twitter last night, and I tend to agree with them. They're playing Hellebuck too much. How many games is it now? Let me have a quick look at this. I think he's played, 50 of the games so far this year? Didn't they learn this from last year? Like in the playoffs, they kind of overplayed him a little bit. No, it's Hellebuck's. Hellebuck's played 53 games. It's too much. And that was a game that you could have played your backup. Winnipeg is comfortably in first place. Play Art Comrie last night against Vancouver the Vancouver team that was struggling. Made more sense there. Utah's in tough with Ingram in the players assistant program. Velkma is good, but he needs help. That's true. But here's one big thing with Utah, and I certainly saw that firsthand on Sunday. They're healthy, right? The back end, they've got Jersey back, they've got Marino. They look good, and they're a fast team. Like, if you can't deal with that speed, you're going to end up looking on the other side. Although, again, I gotta watch the highlights from last night with Edmonton because I don't know what happened there. But up until that point, Utah has been playing quite well. And they're a team that again has been through like a bit of a rebuild for a while, but they've been. Look at these last couple of games that they've had here, right? So beat the Jackets. They did lose to the Hurricanes, but then they beat the Capitals in overtime. That was big. They beat the Canucks, Blackhawks, beat the Wild 6-1. That was good. Did lose to the Devils. I think that was an empty netter there. And then beat the Wings, beat the Blackhawks. So, and then they're, getting close with the Leafs. They get a point there in the going to overtime, and then they beat the Ducks. So, again, I think Utah, it could be the dark horse maybe to make it. St. Louis 7th, Minnesota 8th. Could happen. Ottawa 7th, Montreal 8th. I could see that happening too. Yeah, it's too bad about Columbus. I don't think they're going to get in the way they're playing. We need to get Troy back on here. I need to dig into why. I know they've had injuries, but it's unfortunate what's going on. Yeah, unless like some team like pops off here, but like I just don't see Detroit or Columbus or even the Islanders doing. The Islanders are playing better though, but I don't think it'll be enough for them to get in. Look at this: Montreal 7-1-2, Ottawa 7-2-1. it'll just be good to see Ottawa and Montreal back in the playoffs to a certain degree because the Canadian teams in there does make things more interesting. But I don't know. I can't be alone here. You guys let me know, but I want Columbus in. If there's one team I'd like out, it's Montreal. They're doing a rebuild. They don't need to be in this season. I'd like to see Columbus get in for Goudreau. And keep Ottawa there. Travis Green, former Canucks coach. They got some fun players on that team. Brady Tkachuk, Stützle. It's a fun mix there. Devils are another team to keep in mind. No Jack Hughes. They're 5-5 in their last 10. See how they look, but they're probably not going very far in the playoffs as is, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, the West is what we're going to focus on here today. And a lot of stuff going on with the, this has pretty much been the same for a while, this group right here, outside of 8, Minnesota, Los Angeles, Edmonton, Colorado, Vegas, Dallas. And then it's just here where things get really interesting. So we'll see. What, you know what, we mentioned Utah. I'm actually curious to see what their schedule looks like going forward. So, yeah, they get thumped last night. They're playing the Sabres tomorrow. I mean, that's a winnable game. Tough against the Lightning. Should beat Red Wings. Tough against the Lightning again. Okay, maybe not then. Because Utah's got to play the Panthers, too. Blackhawks, easy game. Flames in Utah will be a good one. Kings in Utah will be tough. Jets, Kraken, Predators, Stars, Predators. Okay, so maybe I take that back. Because Utah does have a bit of a tougher schedule than I'm seeing here. So it's going to be a good time of year. By the way, they're doing player meetings right now, or the GM meetings in Florida right now. I was hearing on the radio on the way over here, Gary Bettman not about to change the playoff format, which I kind of wish they would. I think it would be better if they went to the old 1 versus 8 format. You guys let me know. Obviously, right now it's based off the conference and the wild card and all that. So yeah, that's kind of where things sit at this moment. I think Metropolitan is pretty weak. Atlantic is so much better. Yeah, I agree. Look at that. Florida, Tampa Bay, Toronto. Yeah, the Atlantic is pretty solid, minus the bottom 3 teams. And they also have Buffalo in that division. But then, you've got Columbus, New York, both the New York teams, and New Jersey. It's a little bit stronger there. So what about the league? I was always curious to see how the overall points look. So yeah, Capital's still in first. It's interesting. Canucks would be 15th overall, but it's one thing to kind of look at there. Anyways, keep the questions coming. Yeah, it sucks. I completely agree. They need to do something about the format, guys, for sure. That's a given with everything that's going on. Okay, let's talk a bit about tonight's action. We talked briefly about it here, but we've obviously got the Avalanche and the Leafs. Avs are the favorites. I would tend to think that way too. And the Wild and Kraken. This could be an interesting one. I feel like Seattle's been getting a couple wins here and there that you wouldn't expect. Of course, they were sellers at the deadline, which was smart. But their last couple games, they beat the Blackhawks. They take the Jets to overtime. That's not bad. They beat Utah. They beat the Habs. They beat went in good with the Capitals and then beat the Flyers. So I feel like they've been playing better. And obviously they beat the Canucks on March 1st too. So that, I don't think it's a guarantee either way. I'm just curious what type of odds we're getting on that game. I didn't even check. But let's see. So yeah, you're getting minus 163 on the Wild against the Kraken tonight. So we'll see. Again, Minnesota not playing the best. Might be worth it. Just the way Minnesota's playing might be worth it to sprinkle a little bit on Seattle tonight just because, again, nothing's really guaranteed there. Now, looking ahead to tomorrow, again, a lot of good games tomorrow night. You got the Flyers and Capitals, kind of another... Capitals have got a pretty good schedule from here on out, it looks like, right? In terms of, now they're getting to play, some of the easier teams. Now, the Flames and Devils will be very interesting. Again, Flames coming off a win last night. Devils are a different animal than the New York Rangers. I would tend to lean the Devils on that one. You got the Avs and Senators. Senators, big opportunity here to right that wrong from last night if they could beat the Avalanche. Panthers and Blue Jackets. Again, Columbus really needs to claw their way out. The Leafs and the Rangers. Again, we'll see how the Leafs look tonight, but they're going to have to play back-to-back against Colorado and New York, so we'll see how that goes. And then Canucks and the Blues. I feel like the Canucks have not played the Blues very well this year. So that should be interesting. You've got the Canadiens and the Islanders. Another good tilt there. Ducks and Predators, who's getting the better draft pick. Lightning and Stars, good tilt there. Kings and Blackhawks, a gimme for the Kings. Jets and Oilers, good tilt there. Utah getting a bit of a gimme against the Sabres. You got the Golden Knights against the Bruins. That should be a win for them. Same thing with the Hurricanes. And then Friday, just one game, and then a bunch of games on Saturday, including the Canucks and Rangers, which I believe it's the first time. I think is this one of the first times that JT Miller is playing against the Canucks. So that'll be interesting. See if there's any Miller Pedersen back and forth. I'll be watching that one, and that's a morning game too, so 10 a.m. Eastern time. So UFC is actually on during the day as well, so I might have to get up early for that one and check out all the action. So that should be good. You get the Sabres and the Wild. What are some other big games here? Hurricanes and Kings. I love that we're getting like good, playoff teams like battling against each other, like Panthers and Capitals, Senators and Devils will be good. That could be a potential playoff matchup. So we'll have to see. And let's go to, while we got the chance here, NHL playoff bracket. Let's see how things are looking right now for the bracket. Yeah, so if we're looking at it right now, courtesy of BetMGM, they already have it up here. It doesn't look very neat here. So yeah, this is what a potential bracket would look like here first. So in the Western Conference, you'd have the Jets and the Canucks. So that'd be interesting because they played each other. The Stars and the Avalanche. I think everyone wants this, right? You've got Mikko Rantanen playing his former team. Like, obviously, when the Colorado traded Mikko Rantanen, they didn't think he was going to go to a Western Conference team. They thought he was going to sign with Carolina. That doesn't end up happening. So just the drama for that alone is worth it. Unfortunately, we're getting the Oilers and Kings again. The Oilers always dominate the Kings in the playoffs. Like, I do not want to see that whatsoever. So, not a fan of that. Wild and Golden Knights could be interesting. But again, Golden Knights, I think, would take that. So, that's how things look right now. And then in the East, you get the Panthers and Canadiens. Don't mind that at all. Lightning and Leafs, there's some history there, obviously. Hurricanes and Devils, man, that would be a tough matchup for either side. And then the Senators against the Capitals. So, yeah, could be very interesting some of these matchups right now. But again, I'm thinking more, Jets and probably St. Louis. And then, yeah, I think the Wild will stay in there. I think this will probably be I think it's going to end up being this way, just maybe with the Canucks out. And then in the East, I think it'll be, you never know. You never know how some of these teams are going to do down the stretch here right now, but that's kind of what we're looking at playoff format wise. So should be interesting here. Again, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. What's on your mind right now? Let's see if we got any other news going on right now to see what's happening. Let's see. Looks like the NHL and NHLPA to begin early talks in April. So that's good. Got the story up here on Sportsnet. I didn't realize the CBA expires in September 2026, so we'll have to see how things go. I think things with the league are good. The salary cap's going up, which is great news. Looking ahead at some other news here in the league. Yeah, it's crazy. I kind of forgot that that loss last night for Ottawa was they were in a 6-game winning streak. So that's quite interesting. Let's actually, I want to kind of go back a little bit and we'll have a look at that game last night between the Senators and the Canadiens. So the Canadiens getting 5 goals in the third period. Wow, I didn't realize that. So that's kind of crazy for Montreal to get that many goals. I don't know what happened with the goaltending, but Allmark, letting in 5 goals in any period is not good. And yeah, when Travis Hamonick's getting the goals for you and putting the offensive production, that's not very good. I think the Avs will win the cup. They are so good. Well, they might even get Landeskog back. That's actually, you know what? We might have the video of that here. Let me find that. Gabriel Landeskog. Let's see if we got the, I don't know if we have the video here. Yeah, here we go. This was him at practice yesterday. You guys want to check that out. Not bad. Oops, sorry. Forgot my screen's not being shared right now. You can see him at practice right now. Looking good. And I believe with the way the cap works, it doesn't matter if he comes back. They can't, the cap doesn't matter in the playoffs. So If they get him back, yeah, I'm with you, Jacob. I think they could take it. The only thing with the Avs that I do wonder about, goaltending. Mackenzie Blackwood, not really proven, right? I mean, if we're going a series between Dallas and Colorado, I'm picking Jake Ottinger as the goaltender to outduel Mackenzie Blackwood, but we'll have to see. But yeah, as far as like favorites, like I it's so weird, guys, and you guys let me know in the comments. I don't know about Winnipeg. Like I feel like they're doing the same thing they did last year with Hellebuck. They're playing him too much. They didn't do a whole lot at the deadline. I still don't think they have like an amazing, second line center or anything. So as far as like cup favorites, like I wouldn't really put them there. I would go, if I'm going to go cup favorites, I go Dallas, Vegas, Colorado. That's what I'd go with. I still am not sold on Edmonton. Again, they're 6-4 last couple of games. They look good last night, but we'll see if that keeps up. I don't expect LA or Minnesota or any of these other teams. These are the three right here for me: Colorado, Vegas, Dallas. Now in the East, it's a bit more trickier. I think Florida, Tampa Bay, and maybe Carolina. But again, I got some questions. Although the Capitals, I mean, they've been really like consistent all season. They got a lot of vets on that team too. It seems like they got a good goal. That's one thing with the Capitals I give them credit for. They have a good goaltending tandem. They might have the best goaltending tandem if you think about it. They've got Logan Thompson and Lindgren. And Lindgren's been solid too, if you look at the numbers, right? So I would probably put Washington in that same tier. So maybe I go Washington, Florida, Tampa Bay. Unfortunately with the Leafs, like, I don't know, Matthews isn't 100%. They have some off games every now and then. Carolina still got some questions there again with that team. And they just in general in the playoffs, they haven't really done a whole lot. New Jersey doesn't have Jack Hughes. Ottawa and Montreal are like nice stories. They're like those teams that have been rebuilding for a while. Now they're finally seeing the fruits of their labor, but I don't expect them to do much damage. So yeah, to me, those are, if I have to pick three teams from each conference, I'm going Florida, Tampa Bay, Washington in the East, and then the West, I'm going Vegas, Dallas, and Colorado, because Vegas is just so well-balanced, right? I think they'll do a bit better this year, but I don't go all the way. Then in the East, it's Tampa Bay or Florida. I can't see anyone in Tampa Bay in the Panthers. I mean, consider this too. In Florida, what's their record? I feel like they have been stumbling a bit. Actually, no, they've been 7-3 in the last little bit. But the thing we got to remember with Florida, they still don't have Marchand and Tkachuk back yet. And when they get them back, I mean, could you ask for two better playoff performers on your team? Right? So I'm with you. Like, I think, Jacob, that I think Tampa and Florida are the juggernauts in that Eastern Conference for sure. I think the Caps won't go further than the Eastern Conference final. That's fair too. But I don't know this Ovechkin thing. Speaking of which, how many goals left for Ovechkin? 7, I think. Did he score last? They didn't. They played last night. Did he score? I wonder if he got a goal. It's crazy that he's probably going to hit Gretzky's record this year, right? That didn't seem possible at the beginning of the year. No, he got an assist last night. So no goal for Ovechkin last night. And we got how many games left? What, like 15 games left or something along those lines? So I think he's going to hit it. What do you guys think? Does Ovechkin make the mark? Does he get Gretzky's record? We'll have to see. Ovi's been struggling. Yeah, what is his box score the last couple of games? So he gets going back to March 9th, he got a goal there. You got 3 assists against Anaheim, no goals against the Kings. Gets a goal and an assist against San Jose, and then he gets an assist last night. So not a whole lot there. Not a point per game, but he's getting there. We'll see if he makes it. I don't think he gets it this year. We'll see. What doesn't he have here? I think it's 7 goals left. Let me double check here. How many goals does Alexander Ovechkin have? He needs 8 goals to surpass Gretzky's record. I thought it was 7. So 8 goals, and we have how many games left? I think he can do it. Or it'll be close. I hope he does it this year. If he does it next year, it'll be like, I don't know, just the way he's been playing this year. How many goals is he at this year anyways? He's got 34 goals this year, I think. Let's look at the stats here. It's crazy how long he's been playing. I was showing my son highlights of him last night, dating back to when he was like playing in like the 04-05 season. He's got 34 goals this year. It's crazy. Plus 20. 22 assists. Yeah, 05-06. Had 52 goals that season. I mean, he's only had one season where he hasn't done that great and he didn't play as many games, and that was 2021. But that was the shortened season anyways, wasn't it? So he's gotten like 30 goals every year. That's crazy. Imagine being a legend like him. That's nuts. Point gets no goals in 12 games. Oh no. What is Braden Point doing these days? Has it been that long? Well, he's got some assists, but yeah, you're right. A lot of box score stuff here not going well. What's he up to on the season? He's got 32 goals. He's okay. 66 points. A little bit down from last year, but we'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. I think he'll get close to what he had last year. He's been bad. I'm on him now again. I can tell. You're the only way I know if Braden Point's not doing well or anything's happening with Tampa in like a negative light. It's usually when I hear it from you, but you got to be happy with this team. I mean, you look at the roster they've got right now, right? Let's do a little Puckpedia here today. Have a look at what they got going on. It's a pretty solid team, top to bottom. Look at this. Kucherov, Point, Getzel, Hagel, Sorelli, Bjorkstrand, Nick Paul, Gord, Cam Atkinson, who's like a good veteran, although he hasn't really done much. I forgot he's 35. And then even on defense, Hedman, McDonough, Cernak. And then things take a bit of a dive there, but they don't need great defense because you got Vasilevsky in that, and you got him locked up for a number of years too. So, yeah, Tampa Bay is definitely a force to be reckoned with, but you look at Florida on the flip side, this roster is just unreal. Barkov, Tkachuk, Reinhart, Lundell, Bennett, Verhaeghe, Marchand, Evan Rodriguez even was like a depth guy. Nico Sturm, I forgot they have him too. Good old Jonah Gadjevich, former Canucks draft pick. They got Ekblad, Seth Jones, Forsling, Kulikov, Nate Schmidt even as like a depth option. They got Bobrovsky. Man, they better hope that Bobrovsky stays healthy, and they're going to have to figure out the goaltending thing here soon. That's the one thing with trading Spencer Knight. They'll have to figure out the goaltending thing here, I guess, after next season. That's crazy that Bobrovsky's contract's almost up. I forgot that's how long it's been. So that will be interesting. I like Getzel more now. I'm happy with the team. I just hope we don't lose in the first round again. So weird to hear Marchand as the Panthers. I know. It's very weird. But that's the Bruins. They screwed it up. They should have tried to find a way to keep him. Even if you're doing a rebuild, Marchand probably would have stayed. I don't know how Don Sweeney still has a job right now with some of the moves they've made. So it's tough to say. Let's look at some of the other playoff teams since we were talking about like lineups and stuff. Actually, we'll stick on Puckpedia. I was going to go to Daily Faceoff, but let's look at Utah's roster since we were mentioning them earlier. Again, I'm very high on how they are right now. Really, really well balanced. Like they don't have any like superstars, but they've got like a well balanced team here. You know, good cap structure, good defense. I mean, this defense is actually pretty solid here. Sergachev, who's 26, I forget how young he is, and he's at 8'5". That's not bad. Jersey, Marino, Ian Cole, good veteran guy. Oli Mata, good veteran guy. And then it seems like they got the goaltending figured out. And then they got a couple buyouts, including Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Zach Kassian, and Patrick Nemeth. So that's interesting. How about St. Louis? How's St. Louis getting it done? That's my question too. They don't have a really like flashy roster right now, but Kyrou, Robert Thomas, Braden Shen, Buchnevich, I think has been playing a bit better. Dylan Holloway, again, getting those offer sheets has paid off for them. They're doing it without Torrey Krug. They got Justin Falk, Parayko, Broberg, Cam Fowler, Nick Leddy, and then Binnington and Joel Hofer. I don't know if he's the future. So, and then Montreal, who we mentioned earlier, they've got a pretty solid roster here. Laine, Suzuki, Caulfield, Gallagher, Anderson, Matheson. Carrier was a good pickup. Man, I wish the Canucks got him. I like him a lot. He's at a good cap hit too, 3.7. You got Lane Hudson lighting it up there, 21 years old. And they're still paying Carey Price for 2 more seasons. Well, LTIR. Jacob Dobes. Don't know much about him as the backup. So very interesting. Utah has so much money to play with this offseason. They're going to be good next offseason. Well, yes and no, but you know what? Now you bring up a good point. Let's actually have a look at some of the top UFAs. The UFA class isn't that good. for this year. I mean, some of them are, but you look at some of the names here. So Mitch Marner, I mean, depends what which way they're going to go. But I don't see Marner going to like maybe he goes to Utah, but I don't know. I think Marner, I just have a feeling he's going to end up back with the Leafs. I don't know. So there's that. And then Ehlers. There's some chatter I was hearing on Canucks Twitter the other day about the Canucks maybe circling in on him because he'd be a better bet than Besser, I think, if you're going to sign a long-term winger. Imagine him with Pettersson. Jesus, that would be great. Chychrun, he'll be in demand, but I imagine Washington will figure it out. I mean, if you're Chychrun, you probably want to be somewhere stable, and I think Washington certainly fits that. Tavares will probably be back with the Leafs on a team-friendly deal. And then this is where things really take a nosedive. Like Sam Bennett, we'll see. He'll probably get overpaid somewhere, but he's 29. Maybe the Canucks circle in on him, although you got to think all these other teams are going to be after him. And then this is where things really go down. So you got Besser, we'll see. Ekblad, again, 29. He'll get overpaid as I think he's right shot too, right? So he'll be getting a little bit more than usual. He is, what is he? Right shot? Yeah, he's right shot. So he'll get over. That's the thing. Free agency, I never think is a good idea to build your team because you're just going to overpay for something you could get, usually at a better value via the trade deadline. So, but like the team like the Canucks, they don't have they have cap space, but they don't have much to trade with. So they probably are going to be looking at free agency. Brad Marchand, again, I think they'll figure out something there with Florida, whoever. Aiden Hill. Oh, no, I believe they signed Hill already, right? Yeah, Hill got like 5.7, I think, or something from Vegas. So he's locked up. Brock Nelson could be an option, but again, he's 33. So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Sorry, I should mention not where Besser goes. Besser's actually, a decent pickup for whatever team ends up getting him. It's pretty much Ekblad on. Because the thing with Ekblad is he's 29. He's going to want long-term, I'm sure. The rule, you don't sign players 29 and above to 8-year contracts. Those never age well. So it's basically from Ekblad on. It's a bit of a weaker free agent class. So let's say you're Utah and you want to bring someone in. Maybe you bring in a couple of veterans, you overpay for them, but no difference makers here is kind of what I'm seeing, right? Not like years past. I think teams are getting smarter about that. You're also seeing younger players getting more term and teams locking up their guys. So we'll see. Potential for loss to offer sheets. Yeah, you know what? Let's actually look at top NHL RFAs 2025. That it could be more interesting for sure, and maybe some trades as well. So let's have a look here. Here we go. This is a better one. Top RFAs. Some of these I don't even know. Evan Bouchard. Interesting. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that, and he's only 25. Well, I think what Bouchard is good offensively, bad defensively. So. I mean, Edmonton will find a way to get him, but Edmonton's got to be in cap issues right now. You got Evander Kane coming on the books too. Ekblad is so overrated. A little bit, yeah. Never panned out being number one pick. That is true. You were right about that, yeah. You're definitely right about that. So you got Bouchard, Luke Hughes, Canucks. Show them the money. Let's do an offer sheet. Man, the Canucks should just, honestly, I know they have their defense laid out, but why wouldn't you just try and do that? You get Luke Hughes to an offer sheet that New Jersey can't match. Quinn Stang. I would seriously consider that if I was the Canucks. Give him some stupid money. And then just trade one of your other defensemen. I don't know. Figure it out. So, yeah. Noah Dobson, that's another one to keep an eye on. He's 25. He struggled a bit this year. What were his stats this year? I feel like they weren't that. He hasn't been playing that well. But again, the Islanders, they're probably looking at maybe doing a rebuild here. Come on, you don't have his points for this last 5 games. I want the. Here we go. 8 goals, -3, 30 points, down from years past. So we'll see what happens there. He could be. I mean, these guys could also be trade targets if they can't come to terms, right? What happened, or the offer sheet thing, like you mentioned, with Broberg and Holloway last year with Edmonton. I'd love to see that. I think that stuff's hilarious. Velarde, he's going to get a raise from Winnipeg. They'll have to figure that out. Winnipeg's got a few things they got to figure out, like Ehlers and now Velarde as well too, right? Nyes, yeah. Leafs got a lot of work to do. You're Brad Tree Living. You're man, I got to figure this out. Rangers suck. I imagine you're a Rangers fan. Listen, I would be frustrated too if I was a Rangers fan and I saw that effort last night. Not very good. JJ, I think he got re-signed, didn't he, or no? No, maybe he hasn't. He's good too. Actually, that's a guy like the Canucks to target. Patera, young guy. I think he's right shot. Keandre Miller. That'll be interesting to see what the Rangers do with him. Dosal for the Ducks, and then you got to imagine the Ducks at some point have got to move on from John Gibson. Like, what are we doing here, right? Yeah, Dosal's very good. What other RFAs do we got? Rossi. You know what? Since we were talking about free agents, the RFA class is very interesting this year. Some of these names on here: Rossi, another big one. Vorkunov, Mason McTavish. Although Dallas always figures it out. Dallas is, you know what I would say about Dallas? They are a very well-run organization. And I know one of the things, too, that I heard in an interview that I think it was it Jim Nill? Someone, I forget, from the organization was talking about culture and how like they're very big on that. So there's someone that doesn't jive with their culture, they'll get them out of there. So I think Dallas will figure out a way to do it. But yeah, Mason McTavish, another big name on here. Zetterlund, who just got traded to Ottawa. Ottawa's a good owner now, so I don't imagine there'll be any issues there. By the way, I got to get Andrew Stein back on here, especially if Ottawa makes the playoffs. And then we got McLeod, Morgan Frost, Cooley. Although I think, no, the Rangers, I'm pretty sure, did... When did this article come out? No, it came out yesterday. I thought Cooley got re-signed by the Rangers, no? Anyways, yeah, you know what? Why don't I just check for myself? I thought for sure the Rangers... re-signed him, no? Or maybe I was just reading that they had talks on bringing him back. Where are we here? Oh no, I guess they haven't. So yeah. Oh no, I was thinking of Borgen. That's what I was thinking of, not Cooley. I got my wills mixed up. That was the issue. So yeah, Cooley, Zary, Devin Levi. And Bowen Byram for the Sabres. Holtz for the Knights. Capo Caco for the Kraken there. That'll be interesting. Boqvist. Yeah, so really good. We'll see. Listen, I think it's fair game if you want to do an offer sheet. That's part of the rules. Use the rules to your advantage. I don't think there's going to be many teams trying to pry Evan Bouchard out of there just with, again, his liabilities. But Luke Hughes, man. Who, you know, you're a young team, like you're a Utah. Why wouldn't you throw the book at Luke Hughes? Why not? Rangers fans obsessed with Brady is odd only because of what the Panthers did with Matt. That's true. And Brady's still under contract, so. Dallas won a cup at some point soon, I would agree, and how it worked out. They got humbled by the Panthers. It's true. I love the trash talk in the chat here, by the way, guys. Again, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We'll do maybe like another 5 minutes on here. I'm glad I looked at this this RFA class because it certainly makes things interesting. I need a cap guy on here to explain this and how, you know, if there's certain teams that want to look into this. So, yeah, but a lot of good names on here. Like this is a good all-star team, especially like Velarde, man. That could be interesting. So I imagine we'll see some movement. It's been pretty good the last couple of years with trades and signings and all that for the NHL. There's no shortage of parity in the league, which is great. So, what else? What else is on your mind, everyone? Let's look at some of the cap out teams that we've got. Thank God for Puckpedia because you know, I thought when what was it, Cap Friendly got bought by Washington, I didn't think we'd have anything like this, but it's super handy, especially for a show like this where I can just instantly go look at salaries and how things are going. So let's look at the NHL salary cap summary here while we're waiting for some more questions to pop in here. If not, we can play Puck Doku, but I don't think we'll have time for that today. We'll do something else. I asked earlier this year, but I'm sure it's changed. What's been the most surprising team and most disappointing team? Oh, great question. Actually, you know what? We'll end on this. Actually, let's end on that question. Most surprising team this year, I think, has been Washington. Just because they made the playoffs last year, they kind of squeaked in. but they didn't perform very well in the playoffs. And they have, they made a few moves in the offseason, but nothing like too drastic. Actually, that's not true. They got Logan Thompson, they got Pierre-Luc Dubois, they got Chikrin. So they made some good moves and it's worked out. So I'd say Washington's probably been the most surprising. And then I'd say most disappointing, it's got to be Nashville. I think it's still the same as before, right? Nashville and New York, actually. Because I don't think anyone, Jacob, you let me know if you're still in the chat here, but I don't recall people thinking New York would have this much of a free fall from last year. This was a team that was, close to making the Stanley Cup final last year. And now it looks like they might not make the playoffs. So I go biggest disappointment, Nashville and New York. Especially with Nashville, everyone was like, oh my God, such a great team in the offseason. They get Stamkos and Marchessault and was it Brady Shea? And, this is a team that's, going to improve from last year. And they're way worse. And they let two guys go, a couple of their players go that have ended up thriving elsewhere. Kiefer Sherwood, Kevin Lankinen. Man, Kevin Lankinen has been an absolute steal from the Canucks. He's the reason that Canucks are even in a playoff hunt. And I don't know what Nashville's going to do. And if you're Stamkos, do you want to stick around for a rebuild? Because that's basically what Nashville's got in store. So we'll have to see. All right, guys, good time to end the show here today. Really appreciate you tuning in. So I'll be back next week. I'll get a guest on here and we'll talk more about things as the playoff race heats up here in the NHL. Again, we'll talk maybe more next week about the Eastern Conference. Today we focus a bit on the Western Conference. Things could definitely change a week today as we do the show weekly, not every day. Appreciate you tuning in. Just one more time, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. My name is James Lynch. This is the Fanatics View Hockey Show. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me leave a comment. Any feedback or anything you guys want to discuss, always check the comments here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Take care.